Thank you very much, Deputy Presiding Officer. Can I also start by thanking the Scottish Government, in particular Mike Russell, for the inclusive manner that has characterised both the first emergency bill of this crisis and this one. And I assure him of our support of the general principles. Can I echo some of Andy Whiteman's excellent comments there, particularly around women's reproductive health and indeed student accommodation? I think issues that have materialised, and they will not be alone in things that we have to, as this Parliament, deal with. Can I commend the government and civil servants for the quick turnaround in this bill? And it is very well written. There is only a few areas that we would seek to slightly amend. And I hope that with the exception of one, these will prove uncontroversial. The first of these covers the additional dwelling supplement. We would like to extend the time frame from 27 months to 36 months, bringing it into line with provisions in England. The ADS, of course, came into force in 2016 via the Land and Buildings Transaction Tax Act. In 2016, my colleague Liam MacArthur raised concerns about the fear that 18-month threshold will, in his words, prove particularly problematic in places like Orkney and could adversely affect the local market. Housing market in Orkney and other island communities operates differently to other parts of mainland Scotland. Properties can remain on the market for prolonged periods of time, often extending beyond 18 months. At the time, Derek Mackay said that provisions hadn't been in place long enough to be reconsidered. Liam asked for an island's impact assessment in May 2019, but Kate Forbes said she didn't consider a change necessary. This tax has a specific purpose: to protect the interests of first-time buyers who want to enter into the Scottish property market. At the moment, though, people who have a genuine interest in selling their old home and are making every effort to do so are being caught by the exceptionally slow market. This is not the point of the tax. An extension of the time frame would provide breathing space for those who are trying to sell up in areas which will move even more slowly. And given that we just don't know how the property market is going to react to the coronavirus crisis, that breathing space could make all the difference. The second area we would like to explore by amendment covers loopholes that have appeared through our support for business. Eligibility for that support is currently linked to the non-domestic rate system. Each of us will know businesses in our own communities that have fallen through the cracks. One particular concern is the qualification date set by the government of 17th of March. Some businesses may have sublet their operation for a short period of time so that their tenant stands to benefit from the whole grant, as was the case in my constituency for the Queensferry Motor Company, whose owner had to sublet the business for 3 months but was due to take occupancy at the start of May. He will miss out on this business-saving grant. Of additional concern is the issue of those who do not pay business rates to the council but do so indirectly as part of a management charge or rental agreement to a management company or factor. Many companies operating in the Gyle industrial estate in my constituency occupy serviced office space. Their business rate liability exists, but is factored into the fee that they pay to the company that manages that space. So we shall seek to explore how we might close these loopholes by amendment. Presiding Officer, these are areas that I hope the government will look kindly on and work with us to resolution. The one I fear will be met with controversy has been mentioned several times, and that is around freedom of information and the FOI sections of the first bill. On any normal day, Presiding Officer, the rejection of any proposal by all four opposition parties in this chamber would have spelled the end of it. That would reflect the decision and settled will of the Scottish electorate in the 2016 election. But the balance of votes in the chamber on April the 1st was askew, and the result was distorted. It prompted Catherine Styler from the Open Knowledge Foundation to point out, and I quote, that Scotland is now in the unenviable position of being the first country in the whole of the world to introduce new restrictions on freedom of information as a result of the coronavirus outbreak. In the days afterward, the BBC called for the official count of the number of suspected cases of COVID-19 in care homes, something already being given to councils, health boards and the government. But the Care Inspectorate told them that the request was being treated as an FOI, meaning it had 3 months to respond. Now, we know that the Health Secretary resolved this, but a robust system should not need the good grace of its ministers. As a Survation poll of the Open Knowledge organisation found that 52% of respondents believe that restricting the public's right to information is an unnecessary measure in this emergency. to have asked so I have also asked clerks, and I'm quite willing to withdraw those instructions and work with Adam Tompkins and other parties to repeal those previous sections of the emergency bill. And I want to use this to spark a properly balanced discussion and a vote on what the system should be for the duration of this pandemic. Ross Greer and Neil Finlay puts forward some of those options in our previous discussions. Last time around, we only had minutes to talk this through. This time we have a week or more to agree alternatives. And I invite ministers to convene these talks now. Listen to what you have heard. The unanimity across these opposition benches that today will ask you to go and think again on the provisions around time limits for freedom of information. Presiding Officer, as Liberals, we have sought at every stage in this emergency to ensure that Scotland's liberal values are retained throughout the whole of this emergency, whether that be in jury trials or whether it be in freedom of information. And for those reasons, we hope that we will persuade government to adopt these changes. Thank you.